The old two-stroke sounds good, ripping down through the start there. We are at round number 8 here at Crossroads Cross Country, and got a pretty good hole shot there. Got a good jump off the line there and just let her eat. A new section here that they cut out. A lot of chicken heads sticking up through this little section. Got a little bit. Had to kind of pick your way through here a little bit later on in the race. We were completely expecting a really, really dry, dusty race, and we got lucky and got a little bit of rain. I guess late in the evening or early in the morning. It got really just enough rain just to make it to hold the dust down and to make it just a little bit actually slick. I was definitely not expecting it to be slick at all. Like I said, we were expecting a dust bowl. And a couple of these long downhills later on, my front end got a little skippy there, coming down through the rocks in the grease a little bit. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that we start on row number 14, us old guys. So we have to work up through a lot of the C-class rows. So you see that a lot in my videos of a lot of passing on the first lap. And I know that old Sam's going to be after me today, so I'm doing a little bit of hooting to let people know that what side of him I'm on. I don't hoot to necessarily get him to move over. I just want to let people know what side I'm on, because when you're passing up through the C rows, a lot of times they'll move. If you go right, they'll move right, thinking that they should move the other way or whatever. But so I just try to let them know what side I'm on. But I figure Sam's going to be on my rear end big time. He's got to win this race, because prior to this race, I had 4 first places, and Sam had 3 first places. So if Sam could win this race, then we'd be even at 4 firsts apiece. And at that point, I mean, the points would be extremely close. So Sam really needed to win today, so I knew that he would be pushing hard. So I try to just work through this first lap and work through these C riders as fast as I can here on the first lap. And like I said, a lot of stuff that's just a little bit slick here on the first lap, and a lot of off-camber. I've never rode here before, and this place actually is not far from my house, so I will probably ride here in the future. It's a riding area called Mild to Wild, but like only 45 minutes from my house, but I've never rode here, but probably will in the future. So coming up here on the left, right there on the left is the Pro Hill, and at this point I really don't know if anybody tried it on the first lap or not. I went and looked at it prior to the race, and it was pretty steep and super loose. So I wasn't really too keen on trying it. I thought about trying it later on in the race, but I knew I was in the lead, but I didn't know how far I was in the lead, and just wasn't sure if it was worth it, because there was no run-up whatsoever, and it was just super loose and full of rocks. So
Whoa, there we go.
I just figured we'd try to win without the Pro Hill. So still working up through quite a few riders here, just past 4 or 5 there, and just keep catching up to guys as we're going. I liked this place actually. I grew up riding this kind of dirt. I grew up riding at Haspen, which nowadays is pretty horrible, but when I was younger, Haspen was real similar to this place right here. A lot of clay, a lot of rock, a lot of hard pack, and so I'm pretty used to riding on this kind of stuff here. Not saying I necessarily like it, but I'm definitely used to riding on it. Of course, this is the first lap, and not completely sure where they have turns and things like that, so not really going too awful crazy here, just trying to run a really even pace and quick for an old guy. I was glad to see that they definitely worked in some new stuff. Like that was probably a new line that we just took, and it connected to something more broken. I did not want to run on just those basically wide fire road type roads the whole day and be in third and fourth gear going fast the entire day. And it was a pretty good mix of stuff, really. I didn't think the speeds were too horrible. Until there at the bottom of the hill there is pretty slick on the first lap. By about I would guess the third lap, it had dried up pretty good, and there's a lot of traction about the third lap. But this first lap and maybe a little bit of the second lap, it was still fairly slick. So I got first at this race, and so that gives me 5 first places this season. And my worst finish is a third, and I only have one of those. So I think I got 5 firsts in like maybe 2 seconds, and then a third. So my worst race is going to be a third, and I'm going to drop that. I think that Crossroads does 9 races in the series, and I think they drop 2. So it's your best 7, I guess. I need to look at the rules again, but I think it's the best 7. And so with 5 firsts, I probably wrapped the championship up today. So next year, if I decide to run Crossroads, we'll be moving up into the A class. Not too excited about that. I've been kind of looking a little bit at the pace those guys run, and I can't run that pace. I can run it for maybe a lap or 2, but I can't run it for the whole race. So we'll be toward the back of the pack in the A class, but that's okay. I can almost run that pace. I'm just not necessarily willing to do it like in the dust and stuff like that. I was happy to get back to some long downhills. I actually kind of enjoy long downhills, and there was some decent downhills at this race. Some nice slick rocks and some creeks, and some nice, you can see kind of off camber kind of turns and things like that.
Thank you.
These kind of trails are fun, but if you come here during the week and run these kind of trails, and you can't run these kind of speeds on a free ride day, because someone coming the other way running the same speed as you're never going to get stopped. So that's kind of one bad thing about wide open trails, is don't want to meet somebody going the other way and you're both in like third gear. That's just not a bad or not a good scenario here. But when you got a track laid out, it's fun. So Sam ends up catching me on the second lap. And I kind of had just kind of settled into a pace on the second lap. I wasn't really pushing too hard. Just going to kind of see what the day brought. And so he passed me on the second lap.
Back out!
And I just tucked in behind him and started following him. And he was running a little bit faster pace than I was. And so I sped up and tucked in behind him. I kind of felt like that for us old guys, it was maybe just a little bit too fast of a pace. And I didn't follow him for maybe, I don't know, a couple of miles, maybe. And he slid out on an off camber, and when that happened, I basically kind of just stayed on that faster pace, and really I did not let up the rest of the race. And so by the end of the race, I had actually had 7 minutes on Sam, so I think he probably fell again. So right here, I actually come up, and at first I didn't know where to go. Like we were going down the creek, and I wasn't even paying attention to the right here because it was, you can't tell on GoPro, but it's pretty steep, and I didn't really even know that the trail went out that way. I thought at first, what's that, like the Crow Hill? And I'm trying to look for another line, and then I just realized, no, we got to go to the right. So that was just kind of an awkward turn there. I watched somebody else's video, and man, the C-Class got everybody behind me got really piled up right there. So I was glad I made it through a lot of the C-Class riders before I got to that hill. So the guy that passed me there, he was not on my row. Not sure if he was maybe like a B rider that, who knows, fell or something like that. So I'm still in first in my row, and probably stay there, like I said, until the second lap. And then Sam passed me and got back by him after a couple of miles. Nasty little route right there. I remembered that for the rest of the race.
Gotta remember
That was a little sketchy. Looks like there's just a little bit of everything here. Would be a pretty fun place to come ride. Gonna have to check it out. I'm not sure how many acres it is. But it looks like it's got, if you want some hills, it's got some good hills. But don't put brand new tires on when you come here because there's a lot of rock. We didn't do any really long creek sections, but I mean, you can see there's just a lot of rock around. Enough that I was kind of scared to get the pinch flat because I don't run a lot of pressure in my tires. I probably run less pressure than a lot of people, but on a race like this, you got to really pick your lines because easy to get a pinch flat in a race like this. Felt like I had a really good pace this race. Again, some of this looked pretty new. I mean, it was not, you'd come out onto beat-in trails like this, but there's a lot of stuff that looked to me like they had put in new for this race, which was really nice. Here again is another off-camber, and looks like got a little crooked here. Trying to make sure that Sam doesn't catch up to me. And they're doing some logging here, actually. this place is open during the week or not. I have to see if they have a website and maybe check that out. So Crossroads has 9 races, I believe, in their series. So we're just about at the end of the series. Got 1 race yet to go. And again, all of these races in this series have been brand new to me. But it's been a fun season overall. Had some hot races, had some dusty races, and had some races with some mud. I'm trying to think, we really didn't have an all-out mudder this year that I remember. There was definitely some mud in some races, but not like a, raining, total washout mud out. Thank goodness. So this little section here was maybe a little bit further down here. I think we dropped back into the creek a little bit further down. The creek sections actually were pretty slimy. We had got just enough rain, and them being down in the valleys, they stayed wet pretty much the whole race. So you kind of had to stay on your toes in these creek sections. You'd kind of come hauling down off of a trail, and then they'd kind of feed you into a creek, and a couple of them it was easy to get into the rocks going a little bit too fast. I was pretty wore out at the end of this race, but not as bad as the last race. The last race I had been sick the whole week and couldn't breathe and wasn't sleeping very well. I had some kind of a cold or something and couldn't breathe very well at night. So the last race I was really wore out at the end of the race, but I felt pretty good at the end of this one. Could have went another lap or two if I had to, but I think my pace would have dropped off just a little bit.
Whoa!
Little nasty little kick right there. This is one of the sections where you came down through here pretty quick, and then you just dropped right into this, and this was pretty slick through this stuff. You had to really kind of watch what you were doing. You can tell my front end is kind of just skipping around. And there was another section that was pretty slick like that one was. Had a little bit longer course. I think this was 6.8. I thought Cash said, and it was definitely nice because I did not get passed by a ton of pros and A riders toward the end of the race. I was able to have enough pace that didn't have a lot of people catch me at the end of the race. But I also didn't really let up the whole race either. I tried to maintain, kind of this faster pace the entire race. Of course, this is the first lap, so still kind of feeling the track out and trying to figure out where the turns are and everything. Probably get a little bit faster toward the middle of the race. And again, tried to just maintain that pace the entire time. tell you what, my bike's getting a little bit long in the tooth too, being 2016. These guys with these balanced motors, man, they don't, that's almost like cheating. My bike definitely has, it's definitely a two-stroke, and these balanced motors are amazing. I'm kind of at the point where if I continue to run cross country and continue to want to be competitive like I am, I'm about getting pretty close for a new bike, but love the way my bike handles, and I love the way that the suspension's working. I got ProTune suspension in my bike, and it does a great job. But yeah, kind of feeling like that if I continue to race beyond this year and again try to be competitive, kind of getting due for a new bike, really. So we're getting toward the end of the first lap here. Getting more off camber. A lot of this stuff I find better lines later in the race once I kind of know where we're going. Once things dried out a little bit, man, you could haul the mail. Being this open and decent traction, you could go about as fast as you wanted. But so we're at the end of the lap here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and don't have my last race posted yet. Got to get that one edited and get it up too. But we'll see you at the next one.
924.